Hello, everybody. We're going to start right on time. I imagine that there will be some more folks joining us and trickling in as the session continues. I just wanted to quickly introduce myself if we've not yet had the privilege of getting to know one another. I'm Rabbi Zachary Goodman. I'm one of the rabbis here at Holy Blossom Temple. And really on behalf of the Luke Sklar Mental Health Initiative, I want to welcome you to part 2 of our mental health and wellness series entitled Finding Resilience Always, but Especially Now. We are very grateful to our sponsors, Pam and Greg Hemovich, whose generous gift made this 2-evening event possible. And of course, thank you to Pam for leading us and walking us through our conversation with Dr. Grief. If you've not yet had a chance to see the session with Dr. Grief, we will make sure that you have a link to that recording. I want to say just a quick word about this mental health initiative. So the Luke Sklar Mental Health Initiative was established 3 years ago as a tribute to a cherished member of Holy Blossom, Luke Sklar. And Luke suffered from severe depression and eventually died by suicide. And in honor of Luke's Shem Tov, of his good name, this mental health initiative that now bears his name provides education about mental health and wellness in an effort to support individuals and families coping with mental health challenges. It is our goal to both educate and to reduce stigma. Prior to Luke's death, he spoke quite openly about the illness and the challenges that he faced, and we see it as a continuation of that good work to keep those conversations happening. In any given year, 1 in 5 Canadians experience mental illness, and we know that this number has risen quite significantly over the last year and a half or so as we have faced the multifaceted challenges of living with a pandemic. And in these last recent months, we have had conversations about anxiety, we've had conversations about depression, welcoming in different scholars to have conversations that are both based in true academic fact, as well as empathetic thought and feeling. And so that is one of the reasons why we were so honored to have Dr. Cindy Grief with us in part 1 of our program on resilience. We had the privilege of hearing from Dr. Cindy Grief, who introduced us to this idea of resilience, taught us that resilience really means that we are never giving up, that we're always working on something and always pushing forward. And tonight, we're going to focus on the strategies for cultivating that resilience that Dr. Grief explained so aptly. Resilience is a time-honored virtue among the Jewish people. We have, for centuries around the globe, faced challenges as a people. Concerns about anti-Semitism, about modern Israel, and everything in between. This is not new to the Jewish people. And so one of the things that we often do is to look outside of Jewish life, Jewish living, to find tools for resilience. And one of the, you might be asking, why is a synagogue doing a mental health initiative, right? That we really believe that Jewish life has the tools. Jewish life has the capacity to offer resilience, the capacity to offer strategies for cultivating resilience. And so tonight we are delighted to welcome perhaps some familiar names to many of us. We are delighted to welcome Rabbi Elise Glickman, cantorial soloist Lindy Rivers, and meditation leader Cheryl Sylvester, who will be guiding us in 3 different strategies to support resilience, all through the modes of movement, through music, and through meditation. And so we are really looking forward to this special evening together. And we are delighted that each of you has made a commitment to come to this evening together. So I'll remain brief, and at this time I want to introduce to the screen, bring on screen, Rabbi Elise Glickman. Let's just see where you are here, Rabbi Glickman. I should be able to, there you are, hello. To the spotlight. Rabbi Glickman has spent over 20 years serving Jewish communities of New York and Toronto. Most recently, Rabbi Glickman was the director of the congregational learning at Scarsdale Synagogue Temples, Tremont and Emmanuel in Westchester, New York, and is currently the coordinator of Toronto's Reform Movement's conversion course, the Intro to Jewish Living. Rabbi Glickman received rabbinic smicha from HUC-JAR in New York City and has her master's degree both in Jewish literature as well as Jewish education. And very excitingly, this fall, she will begin her doctoral studies at the William Davidson School of Jewish Education at the JTS, at Jewish Theological Seminary. Rabbi Glickman is a certified yoga teacher and has led Musar Yoga here at Holy Blossom Temple. Perhaps some of you have taken that course with her. So Rabbi Glickman, we are in your good hands. We're looking forward to learning and moving with you this evening.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. Hello, everyone, and welcome. What an incredible program this is that starts with an evidence-based presentation from a medical perspective about the benefits of mind, body, soul, and spirit coming together from Dr. Grief. And now we are in part 2, and what an absolute blessing it is that we can come together and stretch our bodies, our minds, our mouths, our voices, and hopefully our spirits. So we're going to be doing some movement in our time together, and the idea is never to be injured, never to cause any injury or any pain in your body. So I'll mention modifications as we go along, but it's a pretty chill practice that we're going to do for the next 20 or so minutes. So let's start in Sukhasana, which is easy pose. So it's just a cross-legged position. If that doesn't work for you, you could sit on your heels like this. Or if that doesn't work for you, you could just have your legs out in front of you. If you're on a chair, that works too. The idea is to just start and find a comfortable spot that does not stress you out in any way. That's why it's called an easy pose, Sukhasana. Okay, we're going to start by settling into the space. You can close your eyes, or the lids can just start to become heavy if that's comfortable for you. And at any point, if the lids want to close, you're invited to do so. And just start to notice your breath. We're not looking to do anything with the breath. We're not trying to move it or control it or force it to do or be anything. Just start to notice that you are breathed, that every moment of every day, this gift of breath is with us. And as we settle in, you can feel your hips or your buttocks settling into the earth. I invite you to turn inward with your mind. Start to become curious about what your body is feeling. Again, no judgment. We're just curious. And while we're doing that with just an easy sitting posture and an easy breath, becoming aware of our bodies, I want to introduce you to something called the vagus nerve. Not Vegas like Las Vegas, but the vagus, V-A-G-U-S nerve. It's the 10th cranial nerve in our bodies. And it plays a central role in our emotional and physical health. It actually extends from our brain stem all the way down into our stomach and intestines. And movements that our bodies do to stimulate the areas of our lungs, our heart, and our digestive tract have great influence on what's called the tone of your vagus nerve. Now, we learned from Dr. Grief that our nervous system has a sympathetic nervous system, and that's what we associate with fight or flight. It's the response with the result of with the release of cortisol, which is our stress chemical throughout our bloodstream. And the other one is the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's the system that's associated with relaxation, digestion, and regeneration, rest and digest. So on the one side, you've got fight or flight, and on the other side, you've got rest and digest. And the two parts are part of our autonomic nervous system. Okay, why are we talking about this? Because when we cultivate a nice, healthy balance of the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, we are developing our vagal tone of the vagus nerve, and it's absolutely incredible. We are able to respond with resilience to the ups and downs of life. How incredible is that? Practices that stimulate and tone the vagus nerve have a calming effect actually on our minds and our bodies. An increase in vagal tone is linked to a reduction in inflammation and a better prognosis for people suffering from chronic illness, suffering, and depression. And super interestingly, vagal tone is measured in the changes of heart rate, called heart rate variability. And when you have a higher heart rate variability, you can actually move more easily from excitement to relaxation and can recover more easily and quickly from stressors in our life. So who doesn't want to tone their vagal nerve? So the vagus nerve is this incredible piece of our body that when we work on it, and so many ways we can do it, our time together will be with movement in a moment, we end up finding that healthy balance of the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Okay, so now that we've had some time to settle into our bodies and learn all about that, let's do some movement that helps tone our vagus nerve. We start by becoming conscious of our breathing and actually by engaging the breath in a more intentional way than we have been doing in these first couple minutes. So in Hebrew, we could say we're taking a neshima amuka. We're taking a deep breath in through our nose, so try that. And out through the nose as well. Again, in through the nose. And out. Now in yoga, when you do a slight constriction at the back of your throat, it's called a ujjayi breath. Don't worry about that if that's not in your practice. The idea is that we breathe in through our nose for a count of whatever works for you, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And then you exhale and try to have the same length so that the inhales and the exhales become even. So with your own breath, let's just try a few rounds of even inhale in the nose, even exhale out the nose. One more just like this. Inhale. And exhale. And now keeping that intentional breath the whole time. I'll keep reminding you of it. We're going to now link breath with movement. We're going to start with a seated cat-cow. So if you weren't sitting on the floor, bring your weight, come down to the floor, crisscross if you can. And what we're going to do is we're going to inhale and using our hands on our knees, push the chest out, arching our back very slightly. Chin can lift up a bit. Exhale, pull the belly in, curve the back, round it. Inhale, pressing the heart forward. Exhale, rounding the back. One more like this. Inhale, forward, chin up. Exhale, rounding the back, feeling that articulation of the spine. Now we're going to do seated torso circles. So really just from our hips all the way down here, we're going to just do circles one way and then another. So linking breath with movement, hands on the knees. Inhale brings us forward. Exhale brings us back. You can really round if it feels good. You don't have to if you don't want to. We are just getting into the spine and it should feel really juicy right now. Exhale on the way back. And what we're doing here is we're massaging our digestive organs. We are also improving our mobility in the hips and the spine. And these seated torso circles also help re-energize the body and the mind. If you haven't switched sides, do so now. Inhale forward. Exhale pulls you back. Oh, I've just got lots of creaks going on in my back. I don't know if you're feeling it too. It feels so good. It's delicious, these circles. Comes from the Kundalini yoga practice. They call it the Sufi grind. It's like churning butter. Inhale and exhale. All right, come to center. We're going to do one more in this seated posture. It's a heart opener. Okay. And why are we doing this? Because we can gently stimulate the vagus nerve by doing this activity. We're going to open across the chest and the throat. So put your hands like this, where your fingertips are touching your fantastic shoulders. Okay. Inhale, open your chest up and lift your chin up if it feels good on your neck. And as you exhale, fold everything in. Bring the arms forward, curl the back, head down. Inhale, like coming out of a chrysalis. Everything's opening, chest, chin, throat. Exhale, bring it all back in. One more time like this. Inhale, big, beautiful opening of the heart. Exhale out the nose, contract everything. Now just come to a place of stillness. We're going to do this a few times. Try to not move. You could close your eyes if that feels good. And just notice what's happening in your body since we started. We've just done very few movements, but already our body is starting to vibrate a bit with the energy that is coursing through it. We are stimulating that beautiful vagus nerve. All right. Let's come to hands and knees. And so it's going to be shoulders under wrists and knees under hips. So it's called tabletop. And we're going to do the same thing that we did seated, cat and cow. So on an inhale, you're going to arch your back, gently chin up. Exhale, push into the ground, belly comes into the spine, big angry cat. Inhale through the nose, arching the back. Exhale, round the back. On your own breath, more cat and cows. Inhale and exhale. And now I invite you to shake your tail a bit. So if you want to move your hips around, it can feel really good. And don't forget to breathe, because our breath can actually be directed towards those sticky, tight spots. So maybe on an inhale, you go back to the back left corner. And then on an exhale, you come back around the top right corner. And then you can switch sides. Just be kind with your body, getting into all those tight spots, always moving from your breath. Inhale and exhale. One more of this extended cat-cow. All right, and you're welcome to sit back on your heels, or if that's not comfortable, you can come back to your bottom. And again, I just want you to stop, find stillness. How does your body feel now? Part of movement practice is becoming super curious about what's happening inside of us. We become our inner witness. Has your heart rate gone up at all? Are you getting a little warm? Have you kind of gotten into those tight spots a bit? Did that feel really good? Or maybe you're feeling a little constricted. Maybe it was a little too tight and you want to pull back a bit. And start to feel the effects of the movement in your body. More oxygen to the brain as we're doing these beautiful deep breaths in and out of the mouth. All right, we're going to go back to our tabletop, but this time we're going to move our knees farther behind us. Now, if your knees hurt, I should have said this before, you could take anything, a blanket, a pillow, and you can actually put your knees on top of it. If you do not have that and you have a mat, you could actually fold it. You could double it. Either way, we do not want knees that hurt. Okay, so we're going to come back to here, but instead of regular tabletop, we're moving our knees slightly back. So we're getting into a modified plank. So you can bring your body forward a bit. You're going to feel your core engage, which is a beautiful thing. And you're going to stay here. You know, part of resiliency is staying in something even though it's uncomfortable, but we're not actually being hurt in any way, right? It's the stick-to-itiveness. So here we are. Shoulders might be feeling it. Our core might be saying, no, get out of this. But here we are, sticking to the movement. Good. On your next exhale, just come to the ground. Inhale, bring your fingers beside your chest, and a very slight, tiny back bend with a baby cobra. Inhale. Exhale, come down and use your hands and push back to your knees. Inhale, big heart opener. We're revisiting that heart opener. Exhale, we can bring our hands through heart center. Let's do that one more time. Come to the tabletop, knees slightly behind us, feeling that core engage, toning that vagus nerve. Come down to the mat. Tiny back bend. Breathe into the mat. You can actually feel your abdomen pushing into the mat. That's the vagus nerve toning. Next, exhale, push back. Inhale, big giant heart opener. Exhale, come back through heart center. Stay here. Now, how does your body feel? Turning inward. Has your heart rate gone up a bit? Are you feeling a little warmer? Did you engage your arm muscles? What a beautiful thing to move our bodies on the mat, to move our bodies in space, that we are strong and we are capable. And we know our own bodies best. We do not need to harm ourselves, injure ourselves in any way. All right, the last thing I want to do is come like this, bring your hands and knees into tabletop. And I want you to bring your left foot forward. Again, you might want to put something under that knee if it's a little tender. And you're going to put your hands on your knees, or if you have a wall nearby, you could even touch it. And what we're going to do is you're going to strengthen that right glute. So make sure if you were to touch it, it's pretty tight, and pull the belly in to the spine. So those two things are engaged. And ever so gently, we're going to lean into this left knee, and you're going to start to feel a stretch here. It's our psoas muscle, super incredible place, otherwise known as our hip flexor. Our psoas muscle is known to hold on to our emotions, our trauma, our feelings, and our history. So when we engage in exercises like this low lunge, ever so gently stretching out the psoas muscle, we are helping our bodies heal from the inside out. The body informs the mind, which informs the spirit. And then it's like this beautiful iterative cycle. One more breath like this. All right. And we're going to switch legs. So you're going to bring the other leg forward, in my case, the right leg, making that buttocks nice and tight, pulling the core in, ever so gently lean forward. You should feel a nice stretch there in the hip flexor. We are getting right into that psoas muscle, P-S-O-A-S, psoas. Beautiful. And as we think about our psoas muscle, you could ask yourself, what are you holding on to? It's a deeply spiritual and emotional question we ask ourselves. What is it emotionally that we hold on to, and how can we find the ways, the tools, as we are tonight, to release some of that? All right, you're welcome to come to a comfortable seat. And just before my time finishes, I want to share with you, if this is of interest to you and you want to learn more about the vagus nerve, you could do a very simple Google search, VAGUS. And if you want to know more about the vagus nerve and yoga, you could just do a quick Google search. There's so many incredible resources out there about yoga asanas, yoga physical practices, and even beyond that, some philosophies about engaging and toning our vagus nerve, which, as you'll read and as we've learned tonight, can be very helpful with resiliency of the body, the mind, and the spirit. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi Glickman. Did we lose you? You're still with us, yeah? Very good. Well, I really appreciate this, this session on movement, particularly this kind of interplay between movement and stillness. And I've got some, my wife is also a yogi herself, and so we do a lot of movement in our house, but I'm going to try to do some more stillness as well, I think. So for our next session is on music and how music can help us build resilience. Let's see, can you not hear me? Give me 1 second, let's try this.
I can hear you.
You can hear? Okay, great, sorry. Our next session leader is near and dear to our hearts, our very own cantorial soloist, Lindy Rivers, who, in addition to being our Chazan Sheni, our cantorial soloist, Lindy is also a retired social worker. Lindy was raised in the Niagara Peninsula and for 17 years worked as a psychotherapist before deciding to unite in her cantorial career. Three of her passions being music, Judaism, and helping people navigate the challenges of life. Lindy is currently the secretary of the Guild of Temple Musicians, and she also served for many years in a different capacity on the Union for Reform Judaism's Joint Commission on Worship, Music, and Religious Living. She is currently an intern at the Cantorial Internship of the Cantors Assembly, and Lindy has two daughters and a stepson with her late husband, Stephen. Zikrona livrocha. Lindy, we are thrilled that you're with us. I'm going to turn it over to you now as you lead us with music and resilience.
Thank you. It's good to be here, and I'm glad that you are all here with me and that we're all together. And thank you, Rabbi Glickman. That was both informative and stimulating. And my SOAS has definitely been holding in a lot of emotion this year during the pandemic. So music and resilience, my goodness. Music is ancient, cross-cultural, universal. It's present in our celebrations, our mourning rituals, MOURN, and our worship experiences and many other aspects of our lives. We speak about it, we create it, we hear it, we feel it. It crosses languages, boundaries, eras, it connects, enchants, divides. Music is an important part of the human experience. We all have a relationship with music and with various types of music. Sometimes we are very aware of how a particular piece of music is affecting us. We might smile or be moved to tears or to sing along or to move our bodies. These are spontaneous reactions and they can surprise us. And this is the power of music. Resilience through music can be built both through listening to music and participating in it. It comes as no surprise that group singing builds social bonds, which strengthen the connections, the human interactions, the friendships that we need to help build resilience, and thus promotes a sense of happiness and well-being. That sounds very reasonable and logical. It's fun. You might also experience this benefit from being in a knitting or a book club or a sports team, but there's something extra special about music. Those who sing in a choir or take singing lessons learn to experience the vibrations of our vocal cords, which resonate into the spaces in our head, our sinuses, down through our spines, the barrel of our core. And so not only is strengthening our core very important for singing to support all of that breath and all of that air flowing through us, but I like to think of this resonance through our bodies as a metaphorical clearing of space within us, our bodies, within our psyches, in order to experience something. And it can feel very therapeutic. Now, you don't have to take singing lessons or be a professional singer to reap the benefits of participating in making music. Everyone can make music, and don't let anyone ever tell you not to, or to be quiet if you're singing, or to not sing. Always sing. Performing music versus only listening to music may have even more of a calming effect, actually participating over just listening to it. In studies with adult choir singers who were singing the same piece of music, they tended to sync up in their breathing and their heart rates. So this produced a group-wide calming effect. Anyone want to join the choir? Singing together in unison or in harmony, especially when the particular piece of music is emotionally evocative, it can lead to an intense emotional release. It's a small miracle when that happens, when we can let the music move us like that way. Music like that, it opens our hearts, it opens our minds in that moment, and it gives us an opportunity for personal growth. Because when we feel open, we can often see ourselves and the world more clearly, even if it's just in that moment. The more we learn about ourselves, the more we may be able to shed unwanted ideas. that might be holding us back or keeping us down. We all have them. Immersion in a musical experience can help to open us to that kind of momentary clarity. And if we're lucky, and if we keep doing it, those moments may add up to a prolonged clarity and learning something new about ourselves, which may over time lead to different kind of behavior. Having a feeling of openness to a musical experience could happen in a choir or a concert or at a worship experience. The thing is to let the music move you. Let's talk about a bit about listening to music. Feeling good when we hear certain kinds of music is a physiological response. Neuroscientists have discovered that listening to music heightens positive emotion through the reward centers of our brain. Stimulating dopamine that can make us feel good or even elated. Listening to music also lights up other areas of the brain. In fact, almost no brain center is left untouched. I'm getting a message on my computer that my sound might be strange. Just let me know, Rabbi Goodman, if something's happened to my sound.
I think we can hear you okay.
Okay, thank you. Research suggests that listening to music that you particularly enjoy enhances your immune system by reducing the stress hormone cortisol, as Rabbi Glickman spoke about, and boosting the immunoglobulin A blood protein antibody that helps us fight off sickness. Let me say that again. Listening to music reduces the stress hormone and increases an antibody that helps us fight sickness. This is an important finding, since according to research, stress can cause around 60% of our illnesses and disease. One study showed that if people actively participated in making music by playing various percussive instruments and singing, their immune system was boosted even more than if they passively listened. So when you are tuning in to a concert online, or you're at a worship service, or you're listening to the radio, sing along. Again, anyone want to join the choir? Seriously. More researchers on the health benefits of listening to music found that patients receiving surgery for hernia repair who listened to music after surgery experienced decreased cortisol levels and required significantly less morphine to manage their pain. Music, not morphine. In another study involving surgery patients, the stress-reducing effects of music were more powerful than the effect of taking an oral anti-anxiety drug. A German study also demonstrated that music can benefit patients with symptoms of depression, depending on the type of music. Now, this will sound very logical to us, I believe. Meditative sounds and classical music lifted people up. Techno and heavy metal brought people down even more. And these were statistically significant differences, according to the research. I wonder what would happen if your favorite music was heavy metal. Would that then have a relaxing effect on you? I'd like to see that research. It is advised that listening to your favorite tunes for 15 minutes a day is a way of picking up your spirits. And that if you feel low, to specifically put on classical or meditative music. I'm going to add to that thought. Pardon me. I once learned in this music therapy technique to help shift our emotional state. So here's my disclaimer. I'm not endorsing this as a clinical technique, just something that I found personally useful. It might be applied to everything from a bad mood or transient crankiness to a longer term sadness due to very real sources of grief in our lives. Unfortunately, there seem to be no shortage of those sources. It's not a prescription or a one size fits all, and it is intensely personal. It involves listening to a consciously intentional progression of choices of music to match and then gently challenge our mood. and ultimately guide us toward how we would like to feel. The idea is that you start with what you might think of as sad music, or music that makes you feel sad or emotional, and sentimental favorites that match how you feel in the moment. This is going to be different for every person. So it's a very, very personal kind of thing. And then you progressively add music, listen to music where there's a different tempo or a different tone, a different mood. And each subsequent selection is a shift in the mood of the music. And you shift when you feel ready to hear something that is just a little bit more uplifting in your own experience, in your own opinion. So this might happen all in one listening session if you're just cranky, or over days, or maybe over several months if it is a more entrenched kind of sadness. If the spirit moves you on any given day, you might just take a big risk and jump right into dance music as a way of waking up both body and mind, kind of willfully shaking yourself out of kind of just feeling a bit stuck in glumness. Now, you know, a clinical depression is a different thing. So I don't want you to think that I'm saying, just, you know, put on dance music and you won't be depressed anymore. I'm talking about there's a whole range of emotional states and emotional reactions, and music can help along the way. There isn't one particular set of music that will do the trick. It depends entirely on what music you like, what your favorites are, what you have learned from your own experience that causes certain emotional reactions in you, whether they're poignant reactions or feeling elated and everything in between. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. And I'm going to focus on Jewish music tonight, but of course, the musical world is your oyster. You might begin with slower, melodic, sweeter, and emotionally evocative sounds. And if you're feeling down, start with music that's likely to tap into those feelings so that you actually feel maybe more of what you're feeling. And I'm going to say something about that in a minute. Start from where you are. Listen to yourself. Tune into yourself, if you will, and ask, what is it that I need to hear right now? I mean, you may create a playlist for yourself, or you may just in that moment kind of go to your list of music and pull out just the right thing. And the answer might be surprising, but just go with it. Trust yourself. So whether you create a lineup of music for yourselves or a list of tunes and a few categories that you can choose from, it's entirely up to you. Those categories might be on a scale from, you know, evocative sad music to enlivening happy music, for just a simple way to categorize things. For me, the evocative music that tended to tap into my own sad feelings and then sort of draw it out of me happens to be just very slow tempo, very melodic piano music. For someone else, it might be something else, but that's the thing that kind of gets into my soul, and I feel I'm sitting in the sadness, which is what I want to have the courage to do, to feel my feelings and not run away from them. So I have just a bit of a playlist here to give you an example of how you feel. Now, I wanted one of the songs on my list, although it comes sort of later, is Gesher's Sarma Ode. And, you know, depending on how this song is sung, whether it's slow with a kind of a heavier feel to it, or upbeat and lively and hopeful, it can be used at many ranges of this kind of musical scale that I'm talking about. And I just want to say that Alana Arian wrote a very lovely, very hopeful Geshe Sarma Ode. And she took the phrase in the original traditional of "don't be afraid at all" and said, wait, maybe we need to sit in that fear, own it, and then move through it and past it. And that tends to be my own belief system as well. And so I just want to say, I'm not singing her piece tonight, but it's going to be on our website with a link to hear it and her full teaching on her interpretation of it. So I'm going to start actually with a song, Hamalach Hago Elot, which is a prayer that we say when babies are born. Now, I just want you to, I'm going to sing it in a very, now obviously it's very hopeful when babies are born, but I'm going to sing in a way that touches me. And I want you to just feel, if any, feel what your reaction is. And it might be nothing, or it might just be a pleasant feeling, or nothing at all, but just, and it doesn't matter what it is, and you don't have to report in on it, but just tune in and see how it makes you feel. Hamalach Hago Eloti, Hamalach Hago Eloti mikol ra, Yivarech et ha'arim, Vayikarev behem shmi. B'shem avotai, b'shem avotai, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, v'yigul Aron, v'yigul Aron, b'kerev ha'aretz. So that's a sentimental song for me, because I actually recorded it for my older daughter's bat mitzvah to play as part of her video. So it links me right into my emotion. So from there, if I were ready to kind of move on, I might go to something like Olam Chesed Yibaneh, da 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 da. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, la da 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 da. I will build this world from love. La 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 la. And you must build this world from love. La da 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 da. And so on. And so there's a little bit of a kind of a hopeful feel to that one, but it's still kind of can reach in and connect you with your center and your heart. At least it does that for me. So maybe I would move on to Min HaMetzer. In distress, I cried out to God, who answered me by setting me free. Min HaMetzer karatia, Anani b'merchavya, Min HaMetzer karatia, Anani b'merchavya, Anani, Anani, Anani b'merchavya, Anani, Anani, Anani b'merchavya. So I'm just going to pause there and see if you felt anything different listening to that than you did to the first one I sang, Hamalach Hago Elot. One of my favorites for just kind of making me feel relaxed and open. Also, a lot of these for me are prayers and our prayers. Show me your way, show me your way, that I may do your will. Show me your way, show me my path, show me my path, that I may walk in peace. Show me my path, And it goes on from there. And then I might sing a Gesher Tzarma ode because all the world is a narrow bridge, but the important thing is to not be afraid, whether it's to me, not be afraid means don't let that fear, feel your fear, but don't let it stop you. Feel it and do it anyway. Just keep going and never give up. It's one of my mottos in life, never give up. It's not easy sometimes. Kol haolam kulo, gesher tzar me'od. Sing along if you know it. Gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od. Kol haolam kulo, gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od. V'haikar lo lefached klal. V'haikar lo lefached klal. And you can sing it over and over and speed it up. To me, that's like for a pep talk to myself. If you get to the pep talk kind of stage of listening to music, that's one of for me. I also put in Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, because I just find that just such a beautiful piece and something so moving about it. I'm not going to sing it all now, but you know what I mean. And with the Hebrew Hallelujah words, Hallelujah, El Kodsho, Hallelujah, Kirzo, etc. And even if you listen with the English words, you know, it might not be one that resonates with you, but again, you need to kind of find the ones that hit the spot for yourself. There's a song that I introduced to one of our services, and one of our daily worship leaders said she couldn't get it out of her head. And so she walks around the house singing it, and she shared it with her friends, and it makes her feel good. I know I'm going to end soon, but it's called Grateful. And I recorded it for some purpose, and I had it in my head so much from recording it that I couldn't help but feel good. For each day I live, my God, for each day I live, I am grateful, grateful, forever grateful. Modi manachnu lach. And the song goes on. So at some point, you may get to some other music that makes you feel good. Ma tovu, oh halecha Yaakov. How good it is to sing together. Or your favorite Debbie Friedman song. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And so on. So just to show you the contrast between ending with a fun dance around the living room song versus where I started with something more slow and evocative. And so the idea really is it's teaching yourself how to build in resilience, to know that you can get through something that feels challenging to get through, that to know that in the end, you have the strength to fight your way through difficult feelings. How do we build resilience in our lives? The more that we see that we are capable of moving through our challenging times, the more experiences we have in moving through, the less impact the next round of challenges might have on us. So thank you for being with us tonight and giving me a chance to share this with you.
Lindy, thank you so much. Really so helpful in building. What's happening here? You can hear me, yes? So helpful in building resilience. And I'll tell you, I was really touched too. I sing Hamalacha Goel to Abe every night. That's part of our bedtime practice. And it really does, for me at least, it totally, it's just what you're saying is really resonating with me. It's quite powerful. I think we've all always known the power of music, but you were able to really articulate it in such a powerful way. Thank you. We're going to move on now to our last session leader, Cheryl Sylvester. Cheryl is going to be leading us in the meditation, and Cheryl is a long-standing member of Holy Blossom Temple and a former member of the Holy Blossom Board of Directors, serving as the Vice President of Membership for 5 years. Let me just make sure you're on screen with us here at Spotlight. So Cheryl was introduced to meditation through yoga some 20 years ago or so. She has studied Jewish meditation with a number of different rabbis, as well as with the Institute for Jewish Spirituality. So I imagine you'll say a word about that, Cheryl, but we'll also include some resources from the Institute of Jewish Spirituality. Cheryl has led meditations at Holy Blossom Temple since 2014, as well as at the Miles Nadal Community and National Council of Jewish Women. In early 2020, she co-led, together with me, the Healing and Meditation Circles at Holy Blossom. And Cheryl also began teaching yoga in 2019 and will complete her yoga training in 2020. So later this year, we imagine. Cheryl, thank you so much for being with us. We are looking forward to having and holding some meditative space with you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Goodman. It's always good to sit with you and be with you. And with everyone else this evening too. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the meditation portion of the program tonight. 2 weeks ago, Dr. Cindy Gray talked about how breathing and meditation can be useful tools to add to your resilience toolkit. Over the next 20 minutes, we're going to explore a couple of breathing practices followed by a meditation. And if you haven't done it before, don't worry, you can just join in. And I'm sure there are some of our folks who have come to our previous meditations at Holy Blossom who are also here, and welcome all of you. So I will lead with my voice throughout, and I give you full permission to just be comfortable, to participate as much as you wish, to breathe as you wish, and just to enjoy. Throughout this pandemic, many, if not all of us, are unconsciously holding our breath. We're tense, and for good reason. But just for this next little while, I'm going to encourage us to breathe a little more, especially exhaling. I think we're all waiting to exhale. So I have this little card of daily blessings that I found as I was preparing for this session. It's a card from the Union for Reform Judaism and the Central Conference of American Rabbis, of which Holy Blossom and our clergy are affiliated. And so it has an expression that is from the last line of Adon Olam, which says, Ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira. Ve'im ruchi is from the word ruach, which means wind or breath in Hebrew, or spirit. Ruchi meaning my breath. On the card, it's translated as, for as long as I have breath, you are with me, I will not fear. And so this phrase in Hebrew really connects the fact that our breath can be part of that path to the release of fear and anxiety. And so I wanted to start with that and just thinking about how the breath can help us to release fear and to find that courage to be resilient. So I want to start us just with 3 simple, relaxing breaths. I'm going to guide us in 3 breaths together, and just breathe at your own pace with the rhythm of your own breath. But I will guide us. Feel free to just close your eyes if you wish, or just gaze downward, whatever is comfortable for you. And then just settle into your chair or your sofa or wherever you find yourself in this moment, feeling the contact of your body with the chair and through your legs down into the earth. We're going to start with just a deep breath in and a sigh on the out breath. And so we can just do that together. Just breathe in, deep breath in, and a sigh out. And another breath, breathing in, and then sighing out. And for the third one, you can make any sound that your body feels it needs to make to just release tension. So breathing in. Feeling the breath leave your body, returning to normal breathing, but just notice the relaxing in your body, continuing to notice the rhythm of your own breath. Notice if you feel any different than before you were sighing. Just notice if there's any touch, any slight touch of relaxation in your body. Just take a couple more quiet breaths here. And when you're ready, you can begin to open your eyes. So a slightly longer exhalation, such as we just did with sighing, is calming. It's calming because the diaphragm connects to the parasympathetic nervous system, which Rabbi Glickman talked about and which Dr. Grief talked about. And so that is the part of the brain that tells your body you are safe. It's safe to exhale. And in fact, 60 to 90 seconds of breathing with a longer exhalation is actually enough to start to shift the central nervous system and lead to feeling less anxious and more calm. And so I'd like to do this breathing practice with us together. This time we'll do 3 more breaths, and we're going to use a longer exhalation. I will guide us, and then just feel free to take a breath or 2 in between if you need to. So we're going to breathe in to a count of 3, and we're going to breathe out to a count of 4. And then on the third breath, we're going to breathe out to a count of 5. And then we'll continue breathing on our own after that. So just, again, when you're ready, just kind of settle your body into the chair and drop your gaze or close your eyes. We're going to breathe in to a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a breath. We're going to breathe in again on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breath. And for this third one, we'll count out to 5. Deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue this extended exhalation for a few more breaths, or return to normal breathing, whatever feels comfortable for you. But you can try it, just counting it on your own. Again, what are you noticing in your body? What are you feeling right now? As you sit breathing quietly, what do you notice about the breath? Where is it moving your body? Where is it expanding? Perhaps your rib cage, your belly, if you can feel that. Perhaps you feel the breath lifting your shoulders when you inhale and they drop down when you exhale. Do you hear the sound of your breath? What other sensations do you notice in your body as you breathe quietly? Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And when you're ready, you can slowly begin to open your eyes, letting the light just filter in slowly, slowly. And bringing your attention back together to this moment. So Dr. Grief also talked about self-compassion, and I was fortunate enough to learn from Dr. Kristen Neff, who she spoke about. And also a couple of years ago, I studied with Rabbi Sheila Peltz-Weinberg, who taught a wonderful Jewish prayer course about receiving and extending love. And so I'm going to lead us in a meditation practice of self-compassion and care, a blessing practice that's inspired by Rabbi Weinberg's teaching and also based on the Buddhist loving kindness meditation, which some of you might be familiar with. And it's rooted, I'm rooting it in the priestly blessing from the Torah, the book of Numbers. And so I'm sure you're familiar. It's the blessing we say to our children on Shabbat, and we say on holidays and in the congregation for the B'nai Mitzvah when they complete their aliyah to the Torah. And so the blessing goes, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmarecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. In English, in our Siddur, it's translated as, may God bless you and protect you. May God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God's presence be with you and give you peace. And so we're going to use this blessing in our meditation together. So let's settle in. Feet on the ground if possible, hips sinking into your chair. You can just let your hands be relaxed on your lap, your eyes closed if you're comfortable, and softening your gaze toward the floor if not. So just breathe in and breathe out and settle your body. Turning your attention inward. We just take a moment of silence to prepare our minds and hearts. I also just want to say that emotion is welcome here. If this practice brings forward emotion, just be present to it, it's okay. And return to your own breath if you need to, it's always there. So I'd like you to bring to mind someone who loves you. To picture them in your mind, someone who blesses your life. Use your imagination to see their face, to feel their presence with you. It might be someone from the past, the present. It might be a pet, some kind of loving presence that is with you and has your back and makes you feel loved and blessed. You can even picture yourself as a child if that's helpful to you. If you wish, you can try putting your hands over your heart for this meditation, or even giving yourself a gentle hug during the meditation. So you can just follow the words with my voice, and if you wish, you can speak them silently to yourself. May God bless me and protect me. May God's presence shine upon me and be gracious to me. May God's presence be with me and give me peace. Taking in that love with that blessing. May I be blessed and protected. May the divine light shine upon me and be gracious to me. May I receive love and know peace. Taking all that blessing into our heart. Feeling into it with chesed, with loving kindness, and receiving the love and the blessing. Just breathing in. And from this place of being filled with blessing and filled with love, we turn to offer it to someone else. So I invite you to call to mind someone who needs a blessing, someone who may be in need of support, someone who is mourning, someone who you care about, someone who is in a difficult place. And when you call them to mind, picture them, imagine them, and send them this blessing with my voice. And you can also repeat the words silently if you wish. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmarecha. May God bless you and protect you. Yevarechecha Adonai, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence be with you and give you peace. We'll do it one more time. You can also turn your hand outward, your dominant hand on your heart and your other hand outward toward the person or the world, or both hands forward on your lap, however you wish. We'll just say, may God bless you and protect you. May God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God's presence be with you and give you peace. So let's just sit together in silence for another moment in this space of shalom. I will lead us out of the silence in a moment. And as we sit in the silence, if your mind wanders, as minds do, just gently, gently, with self-compassion, bring your attention back to your breath. And when you're ready, you can slowly, slowly let the light filter into your eyes and open them. Thank you for sharing these practices with me this evening. I hope these 3 tools will be of service to you. When you notice tension in your body and you only have a moment, just remember to sigh as you exhale. When you want to help yourself move from a fearful or anxious state, take a couple of breaths, take a couple of minutes to breathe with an extended exhalation, as we practiced earlier. And when you have a few minutes to go deeper, you can remember that you are blessed and you can send blessing to others who you love. Thank you. I will turn us back to Rabbi Goodman to wrap up the evening.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. I'm so relaxed. I have so much work I need to do for the rest of the evening, but I'm ready to just call it a day and just go to sleep. Always a pleasure getting to hold space together with you. I want to say thank you to all of our session leaders and invite everyone to join us back on screen, if you will, just so we can thank you properly again. Let's see, here's the as well. Really, so on behalf of Holy Blossom and on behalf of the Glickman Mental Health Initiative, we thank you for bringing your talents, your time, and your spirit to this workshop together tonight. But also, it's a gift that really we believe and hope that will continue to keep giving. We hope that you found, even if there's just one thing that you can pick up and use for yourself in the future, then this has been a successful evening. And we also want to say thank you to all of the participants, everyone who's made time for being here today. We understand, especially as Toronto is beginning to open up slowly again, that there are other options for where you could be spending your time, and we really do appreciate you taking intentional time to be with us, to be a part of this important conversation. All of the participants from tonight and from the 2 weeks ago will be receiving a survey email. And we really do ask you to please complete that and return to us. It's relatively brief, but we really do want to hear from you. We want to continue our great programming for the Luke's Mental Health Initiative, and we're always looking to do better. We're always looking to improve. And so we welcome your comments, and we would love to hear from you. So please do take a moment to fill out that survey. You'll also, we've been mentioning a few times, you'll also receive some additional resources from our presenters. So do please be watching for emails for those pieces, as well as upcoming programs from the Luke's Mental Health Initiative in the fall. So finally, on behalf of the Luke Sklar Mental Health Initiative at Holy Blossom Temple, I want to wish everyone good health and strength of spirit and the resilience to stay the course just a bit longer with peace of mind and body and soul, resilience using of movement and music and meditative breath and practice. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening, and we'll wish you all a good night. Laila Tov.